Of clear skies when we look not only across a small region but also a larger region of the country, as we are now entering an area of high pressure, as that low pressure system that's brought us the pesky rain showers over the last few days finally moving off to our east. As a result, our temperatures warmed very nicely, getting back up into the low 70s again today, this time around underneath quite a bit more sunshine. Dry dew points will help to keep our skies clear into the night tonight, leading to a bit of a chillier night in store for us as temperatures fall back down into the low and mid 40s. We do return back into the 70s again tomorrow underneath more sunshine. I'll let you know, though, when we expect to see our next chances for rain working into the area, coming up in your most trusted forecast a little later.
Right now at 4, police investigate after a Rockford shooting. The latest victim of gun violence is just 16 years old. Plus, Illinois lawmakers pass a new state budget overnight. We have more on what's included as the governor and a local representative react. And a local business owner gives his employees a special gift. The new wheels come with an even bigger thank you.
Live from Fox 39, this is Eyewitness News at 4.
Good afternoon. I'm Mimi Murphy. Thanks for joining us for Eyewitness News at 4. A Rockford teenager is recovering after a late-night shooting in Rockford. This happened just before 11 last night on City View Drive, just north of the intersection of Riverside and Rockton. Officers found the 16-year-old boy at the scene. He was taken to the hospital for treatment. We're still waiting on an update on his condition. No arrests have been made, and police have not said if they've identified a suspect. If you have any information, call Rockford Police or Crime Stoppers. An Ogle County man will soon learn how long he'll be behind bars for sexually exploiting a child. A judge found Dennis Sage guilty during a bench trial. The 68-year-old had been under investigation from Rochelle police for the past 2 years. The survivor filed a complaint against him back in June of 2022. Sage will have to register as a sex offender. He'll be back in court on June 18th. State lawmakers approve a proposed $53 billion spending plan for Illinois. It now heads to the governor's office to be signed into law. The bill passed through the House early this morning. Capitol Bureau Chief Cole Henke has more.
All year, we heard from the state's officials that this would be a tight budget year. Over the weekend, Senate President Don Harmon called it a doozy. But the trend remains intact as Democrats passed a budget with another jump in state spending.
Voting in favor, 45 voting against, and 0 voting present, and this bill, having received a constitutional majority, is hereby declared passed.
Democrats stuck to the highlights during the midnight floor debate in the House. $350 million more for K-12 education, full pension payments, and pointed to the prior credit upgrades the state has gotten.
We're not going to choose between a responsible budget and a compassionate budget, because, ladies and gentlemen, the FY 2025 budget shows that we can do both.
Republicans took aim at that increased spending.
But we can't just keep going to the taxpayers to solve your spending addictions.
Especially the money the state will be spending on migrant populations. $182 million is going to Chicago to shelter and care for thousands bussed into the city from the southern border, and hundreds of millions of dollars will be spent on providing health care to non-citizens.
We have a responsibility to take care of our native sons and daughters of this state. But this year, it seems that those priorities have come in second.
The budget includes some major Pritzker priorities as well, including $10 million to start a new state agency dedicated to all aspects of early childhood, and $500 million for a quantum campus in northern Illinois.
The fiscal year 2025 budget will help to sustain the momentum to create jobs for the future, furthering strengthening our business sector.
The state is attempting to offset a year of tighter revenues by creating around $900 million more in tax hikes, mainly for businesses. The state will change the tax on sports betting revenue to a graduated structure, and it will be lowering the retailer's discount on taxes that they get for collecting sales tax on behalf of the state.
That was Cole Henke reporting. This morning, Governor J.B. Pritzker praised lawmakers for sending him a budget that he says he can sign.
To briefly recap, we lowered costs for working families. We invested in our children. We secured transformational economic development and job creation opportunities, all while strengthening our state's fiscal health.
Local State Representative John Cabello does not share the governor's optimism. In a statement, the Republican said, quote, "This budget is the largest and most hyper-partisan spending plan in Illinois history and has a lot of problems. It includes abusive salary hikes for politicians and is contingent on over $1 billion in tax hikes on hardworking Illinoisans. Furthermore, it allocates hundreds of millions more in spending for non-citizens while ignoring the pressing needs of our seniors, veterans, and law enforcement." Also in Springfield, a House bill that would ban a product known as Delta 8. It did not get a vote during the overnight session before it was adjourned. Proponents say the THC-infused products derived from hemp are falling into the hands of minors. Those in the industry itself say the current bill would shut their businesses down and do nothing to protect children. Opponents of the measure claim the cannabis industry doesn't want the regulations because then the THC-infused products become competition.
These businesses use bright packaging, appealing flavors, misleading advertising to attract young customers.
The bill on the table puts me out of business, but still allows out-of-state companies to legally ship products into the state of Illinois to sell these products to children.
Although the bill cleared the Illinois Senate, it was referred by the House to the Rules Committee. Employees at a local gaming shop get their very own Oprah moment. Blake Dietz was there to share in the excitement. Blake, the shop's owner says it's a thank you to those who've made his dream a reality.
Yeah, Mimi. Cataclysm Games started as a passion project for 34-year-old Kyle Weber. His business has grown from a 600 square foot store to a 1,300 one. But what his employees say sets him apart is his generosity. And this is why. 7 brand new Subarus filled the McChesney Park business's parking lot today. All gifts to store employees as a thank you from Weber. One for each of his full-time employees. Weber says valuing his employees has created a family environment that is key to their booming business.
Someone is giving me full-time employment. I think that they deserve not only to have a living wage, but I think they deserve to have fully paid health care, a reliable vehicle. We don't really have much turnover here. Usually once someone's on, we jokingly call them a lifer. I think that if an employee's taken care of and they know that they're respected and they're well compensated, they stay on for the long haul. And they may need to get ready for some more cars as Weber plans on adding more staff in the fall. Mimi?
Wow, what a nice perk. All right, thanks, Blake. The U.S. addresses the weapons policy for Israel after a deadly attack on a displacement camp in Gaza. Coming up, the red line the White House says was not crossed. Plus, a deadly blast tears through an Ohio bank. Employees from inside the building report what they experienced just before the explosion.
And clear skies across a pretty broad region of the country. How long that is going to stick around and keep us free of precipitation coming up in just a few minutes.
You're watching Eyewitness News, your home team with Mimi Murphy and meteorologist Jordan Wolf.
The U.S. says it's not changing its policy after Israel's military killed dozens of Palestinians in Rafah. The White House says the airstrike was heartbreaking and horrific, but did not give President Biden a reason to withhold weapons from Israel. Caroline Shively has more.
Israeli strikes on 2 tent encampments in southern Gaza have killed dozens of Palestinians this week, including 21 on Tuesday, as Israeli forces push deeper into the city of Rafah. The Biden administration says a Sunday night strike on a Rafah tent city that killed 45 did not cross any red lines for the U.S., but had this warning about any ground operations into the city.
The president said that should that occur, then it might make him have to make different decisions in terms of support. We haven't seen that happen at this point.
Israeli officials say they can't stop until they root out all remaining Hamas fighters dug into Rafah. But relief agencies report the fighting has made it nearly impossible to provide aid there. And United Nations officials warn displaced Palestinians are on the brink of starvation.
Aid must enter Rafah on a massive scale through as many crossing points as possible.
Now a temporary floating pier built by the U.S. to transfer food, water, and aid supplies into Gaza is out of commission after being damaged by rough seas.
The rebuilding and repairing of the pier will take at least over a week, and following completion will need to be re-anchored to the coast of Gaza.
Israel's national security advisor said Wednesday that he expects the fighting in Gaza to continue until at least the end of the year. In Washington, Caroline Shively, Fox News.
Jurors in the first ever criminal case against a former U.S. president have completed their first day of deliberations, and so far, no verdict. The jury consists of 7 men and 5 women from Manhattan. The panel received instructions about the law this morning and are now tasked with deciding whether Donald Trump is guilty on charges he concealed hush money payments allegedly made on his behalf during the 2016 campaign. The deliberations come after the jury listened to hours of closing arguments yesterday. The panel can either convict or acquit Trump on all 34 felony counts or find him guilty of just some charges and not others. If they deadlock, the judge may declare a mistrial. It's not clear if prosecutors will seek prison time if Trump is convicted, but he could face a maximum of 20 years behind bars. Prosecutors in Louisville, Kentucky have dropped all charges against Scottie Scheffler. They said there wasn't enough evidence to move forward with the case. The pro golfer was arrested earlier this month.